Good evening, everyone. Today is Tuesday, April the 13th, and I'm calling to order the City Council meeting. And before I begin the meeting, I need to read an announcement. So in the interest of public health and safety and pursuant to the Governor's Executive Order N29-20, most of the City Council members and the staff will be participating in this meeting by teleconference. In accordance with the Executive Order, the public may view this meeting and on television and/or online, but not in council chambers. The city now offers a virtual commenting portal, e-comment, that allows residents to comment and participate in the meeting from their own homes. You can find the link to e-comments at www.chulavistaca.gov/cityclerk. Your comments must be received before I call the close of the commenting period in order to be considered. After the commenting period is closed, I will announce a brief pause to allow the council members time to read any comments that have been received. If you have difficulties or need assistance with the e-comment during the meeting, please call area code 619-691-5041 and the city clerk staff will address you. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Cardenas?
Present.
Councilmember Galvez?
Present.
Councilmember McCann?
Present.
Councilmember Padilla?
Present.
And Mayor Casillas-Salas.
Present. Mr. Padilla, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States
of America and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Today, under special orders of the day, our first presentation is by our Emergency Services Coordinator, Marlon King, and to join him is our Chief of the Fire Department, Harry Muntz. So go ahead, Marlon.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. Tonight's EOC update for April 13th. As soon as it gets on the screen, we'll go ahead and get started. Things continue to look good on the COVID front as far as our fight against COVID. With the vaccination rollout, things are looking well. Numbers are doing a lot better. If we go to the first slide, we can see that we still have that downward trend in the testing positivity percentage here in San Diego County. That 14-day rolling average is now down to 2%. Next slide. Hospitals are doing well. It wasn't too long ago when very early on we were worried about the surge in the hospital capacity. We have since dropped significantly as far as the hospitalizations go. Our ICUs are down about 50% from what it was when we met back on March 23rd. You can see that ICUs are sitting there at about 48 patients, and that total overall COVID hospitalizations are at 158. Next slide. As it relates to cases in Chula Vista, we are over a 7-day period. We are now averaging 27 new cases per day. Again, these are Chula Vista residents being tested with Chula Vista zip codes, and you can see that that number has dropped significantly. You look at our curve there on the chart, and you can see that we're holding steady and continuing in that downward trend as far as new cases per day here in the city of Chula Vista. Next slide. Testing still remains a priority. We still have our COVID-19 testing site operational at the South Library. It's still running Sunday through Thursday, 12:30 to 8 p.m. Since October, we've been averaging about 1,900 tests per week, which is roughly a 401 tests per day, and we've completed more than 52,000 tests at that testing site. Next slide. As it relates to vaccines, our Operation Immunity is still going. We've actually conducted over 40 plus mobile events. This slide is a little outdated. More than 40 plus mobile events. You can see that we've administered more than 7,000 vaccines through Operation Immunity. That's our fire department, paramedics and EMTs, whether mobile in the community or assisting at the South Bay Superstation. You can see the numbers there reflected in that graph. We've also conducted more than 108 homebound vaccinations, and these are residents that have either called into our library or have called 211 or the county and have been referred to us to do homebound vaccinations. Next slide. Just a little graphic here that shows where we've been, our Operation Immunity locations. We first started with the senior living communities, and we've gone to places such as Congregational Tower, Garden Villas, Palace Garden, Orange Tree Mobile Home Park. We've also gone to a lot of the grocers on the west side of Chula Vista, including Food for Less, Costco, Northgate, Sprouts, Apple Tree Garden Market, and quite a few others. This is all part of that more than 42 different events that we've conducted in doing our vaccinations. And at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Chief Munns, kind of describe our strategy and our approach moving forward.
Thanks,
Thank
Marlon. Good evening, Mayor, council members. So as Marlon depicted some great work that's been taking place with Operation Immunity, just wanted to take a moment and revisit our purpose and intent of Operation Immunity. And really it was an opportunity that the fire department, through the support from city council and city management, that allows us as EMTs and paramedics to actually deliver the vaccine to the community. And so we really wanted to take an effort and really get the vaccine to the community. So make it convenient for the community, and specifically homebound seniors, as Marlon talked about, senior facilities, and really taking it out to them. That was our purpose and intent. And so with that, the homebound vaccines have been very effective, as Marlon mentioned, 108. We got a list from Meals on Wheels for seniors that maybe don't have the mobility, and then also moving with, working with the County of San Diego, getting lists of homebound seniors for them, which the Operation Immunity has really gone through every one of those lists, and they're going back through it again and ensuring that we've captured every single person that doesn't have the mobility to get there. So a great effort on that part. The next effort was targeted groups, and that was sticking within the phases and tiers of the county health order and state guidance, et cetera. And so under those confines, we really focused our efforts to that part of our community that needed the vaccines the most. But as time has gone on, we've understood that we need to take a step back and reevaluate, and hey, is that the best, most efficient way for us to provide this service to the community? And so what we found recently is offering what we have listed as a pop-up vaccination event, or more of a static environment. So we did one here at City Hall, right here in the council chambers. As a matter of fact, it was a great venue for that. And then the second one was at the Civic Library, using the deck that was just an exceptional site and allowed for a great opportunity to offer those vaccines to the community. And what I mean by that is we kind of seen saturation with going to these large focused groups that are all co-located in one area. And what we found is now that there's been vaccine out for several months, those that need it are kind of sprinkled throughout the community now. They're not in a focused targeted area. So that's what's bringing us to having a parallel approach. And that's to still find those focus groups if they're there, but then also provide that pop-up operation. So with that, with our pop-up operation, we are doing appointments, but the appointments are really focused on allowing us to shorten wait times. Because really if we don't have the appointments, then we could get a flood or a surge of people at all one point in time, and then they might be waiting in line for an hour or 2 hours, and we just want to avoid that. So whenever you see one of our pop-up events, they're really intended to have appointments so that we can make sure the wait time is as small as possible. We can also account for the number of vaccines that we need to have and, minimize the wait. So we absolutely will welcome walk-ups, but that's really the strategy that we're looking at, and we're looking to constantly refine that as we move further along with this vaccination effort. Thank you.
As it relates to our status countywide or statewide, we are currently in the orange tier. This is our second consecutive week in that orange tier, which allowed for a lot of reopening and is a big reprieve from the red and the purple tiers. So according to the state's assessment today, our adjusted case rate has us at 6.0, which qualifies us again for the orange tier. This rate has continued to fluctuate over the last couple of weeks, roughly between 5.5 and 6. So we're definitely keeping an eye on that to make sure that our case rate does not continue to go upward, but increase and instead go downward, and hopefully get us into the yellow tier sometime in the coming weeks. There's no prediction as to when we may reach the yellow tier, but for now we reside in the orange tier that has provided, again, a nice reprieve. As far as the case rates go for Chula Vista, next slide. Chula Vista case rates have dropped significantly. All but one of our zip codes has reached the orange tier, And of note, our 91911 zip code, which was the worst zip code that we had once upon a time, has successfully reached the orange tier. It wasn't long ago when we had some of the highest rates in the county. So it's great to see that Chula Vista is doing well as far as case rates are concerned. Next slide. So orange tier operations, just as a reminder to everyone that's out there, again, restaurants can open indoors. There's no longer a curfew for restaurants operating at 50% capacity indoors. Gyms have increased their capacity to 25%. Same things with wineries and breweries. A big note for the bars that weren't serving meals. Once upon a time, they had to be closed, but now they can open up outdoors. So that's good for those businesses, those bars that operate and serve those drinks. Family entertainment centers, again, another industry that was impacted, can now open indoors at 25%. So again, a lot of good things for these businesses that fought their way through this pandemic, allowing them to return to somewhat normal operations indoors for their customers. And as it relates to reopening, the city is definitely focused on what can we do to reopen and offer more services to our residents. Obviously, our parks and things outdoors have been open, but we want to resume activities indoors as well. So our team is definitely working on a reopening strategy. And at this time, I'd like to invite our Director of Community Services, Tracy Lamb, to come up and speak about our reopening strategy and what we have moving forward.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy to see you. And so a lot of people are gonna be happy about the news that you have to share.
Well, I'm happy to be here, Madam Mayor and City Council members, because I know you're gonna get a lot of questions. And I really want to let you know that we're all excited about looking at a phased reopening, safe reopening. It's going to have to be a soft reopening, though, as we do it. As you know, as we entered COVID a little over a year ago, many of our city staff at the libraries and our community centers were let go because we were closed. So as we approach the phased approach, we'll need time to staff up, as well as most of our venues have been closed a little over a year. So we really need time to make sure we do a deep cleaning and make sure we have a safe venue for our citizens to return to in a safe manner. So we're getting that work started, but we do have a phased plan as how we'll do this, and we'll try to get to the openings as quickly and safely as possible, but I cannot give you a specific date at this juncture. But to let you know that we have a plan of our phased reopening. Next slide. So we'll start off with our community centers. And we're going to target 4 of our community centers throughout the city. So Maritime, Veterans, then OTI, as well as our senior centers. Our seniors have been wanting to get back to socialize and see each other, and we want to make sure they can do it safely. So our senior center is on the docket to be open at Noman Park. Focusing on our community centers, we'll focus on the after-school hours. So our hours of operation will be Monday through Friday from 3 to 8 p.m., and then on Saturdays from 9 to 1. And that way we believe we'll focus on the right audience there. At our senior center, though, we're going to be open from 8 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, and it's kind of their activity time. The amenities that we'll be offering will be our gymnasium, our game rooms, our front counters will be manned, a lobby at the senior center, as well as the multi-purpose room. Our programs, though, will be focused mostly on outdoor programming, bring people through and then get them outside and get them into activities. So we'll have drop-in, though, appointments to play open basketball and to use our gyms, focusing on 1 or 3 households that could play together based on county health requirements. The senior fitness programs will continue, and our focus will, again, be to taking them outside, as well as teen and after-school programs. The focus, again, will be outside. The protocols for our safety protocols, next slide, please, will be the same for both libraries and our community centers. We're going to obviously require a face mask. We'll do temperature checks as you enter the building to our community centers. We will do social distancing of 6 feet, as well as, but if you're from the same household, obviously you can be together. We're going to make sure we sanitize equipment as it is used and have sanitized stations throughout the centers. Our community centers will be limited to about 50 people in each facility. We believe that way we can keep it safe and manned safely on how the flow goes. We will have PP available, like I said, hand sanitizers, but we'll also have our wonderful Chula Vista face mask. For those that don't have one, we'll make sure that they're always are available for them. Our facilities will be deep disinfectant every morning and evening at the end of the day. We'll have signage throughout the building about our protocols, as well as flow of traffic to make sure people are able to be social distance in an easy manner. Next slide, please.
And that was a great picture of you, Tracy.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was trying to model how we're going to do this. Thank you. The Civic Center Library is where we're going to focus opening our first library. It'll be open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday from 10 to 8, and Fridays and Saturdays 10 to 5, and on Sundays 1 to 5. We're going to limit capacity to around 25%, which is roughly 80 people that get to use our wonderful facility at our Civic Library. Browsing will be available. The computers will be available on a first-come, first-served basis, and we're going to try to limit it to about an hour so that everybody will have the availability to get on. Our passport service will continue social distance, so we'll continue to do what we've been doing with passport to keep everyone safe, as well as we will continue to provide curbside book pickup and drop-off for those that don't feel safe but still want to access the library. We don't want to pressure or say that it's either this or that. We want to make sure we're giving our citizens the availability to feel safe as they utilize our library. Programming will be limited, but all our programming that we will do, story time and stuff we're going to try to bring on that beautiful deck that we were able to get. So thank you for that, Madam Mayor. And I think that it was a wonderful place to do programming right connected to the library. So we're very fortunate to have that. I'm sorry to say that the South Branch Library will at this time remain closed and is be part of our further phased in as we get down. Otay Branch will remain closed to the public, but will continue to provide book drop-off and pickup as it has been doing, as well as passport services. The library's highest priority, though, is to continue to work towards opening of all our branches. And all our city departments are working hard to be open to provide quality services to our citizens. So all departments are working towards this, following safety guidelines. And as we staff back up and get our deep cleaning done, so we're ready for a great opening for our community. Thank you for letting me present. Because I know you're going to get questions, and I want to make sure you're well informed.
Thank you very much. And, you know, that is something that I have gotten a lot of communication from the public. You know, a lot of them saying how much they miss our library and how much they miss our recreation centers, certainly the Norman Park Center. And so, you know, now we have that beautiful exercise equipment out there in Norman Park it's heavily used now, but now we'll be able to you know, have some of our regular seniors go there. And that just speaks to the need that we need to speed up that opening of that bocce ball court, right? Because it's an excellent outdoor activity.
Working on that, Madam Mayor, working on that hard.
Thank you.
But
so
thank you.
I see that Jill has her hand raised, followed by Mr. McCann.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Thanks for the excellent presentation, Tracy and Parks and Rec Department. Question on the 50, is that a hard 50 in terms of how many individuals can gather? And specifically, you know, I'm going to ask about the garden club and how they use the double room. They open the divider and they can space. Would that be a hard 50 for them?
It's, again, what the room can hold. We're trying to follow safety requirements of around 25%. So looking at that total number, it's not a hard number. I mean, it's, again, how we can set it up so it can be done socially distanced. And we can work with the garden club and look at how they're talking about holding the meeting at the, I believe it's done at the senior center. So we could work. But it's not a hard 50. It's just looking at staff and our ability to make sure we're checking on things, keeping the hand sanitizers full, and just making sure everybody's social distance. And that's going to be how on our staffing in a way that we're trying to keep it safe. So hopefully we can work with different groups, though, trying to making sure that if they have a need, we'll look at how we address it and try to do it safely. So it's not
excellent.
hard.
And then can I also, thank you, Tracy, and can I also inquire about the Chula Vista Women's Club? The Women's Club, they do a number of activities to benefit other organizations and use that as a place to meet and conduct those activities. Will they be able to open if the president of the club has the keys and can let herself in?
Again, it's a phased opening. We still need to get in there, do deep cleaning. Right now, we want to focus on these 4 different community centers, and that will be in a phased opening plan as we continue to get these open and we can move to other centers. So I don't have, again, don't have specific dates that I can give you based on just working with the different departments so that everybody opens in a safe manner and everything is clean and welcoming to our community.
Understood. The sooner the better. We miss you. Thank
agree.
you so much. Miss each other.
I agree. It's just, there's a lot of moving parts here.
Boy, and when people are able to come to the Norman Park Center, they're going to be coming to a beautiful new rehabilitated center. They're just going to be really thrilled because those repairs are something that the community was asking for many years, and we got it done, and it looks stunning in there. It's absolutely beautiful.
I look forward to welcoming people back.
Yes. Mr. McCann? You're muted, Mr. McCann. We can't hear you, Mr. McCann.
I wanted to thank Marlon and Chief Munns on the Operation Immunity. I've had conversations with a couple seniors that have called me to thank them for doing that. They were not able to necessarily get out to the doctors or go to the Chula Vista Community Center, and being able to get something where they could get a vaccination very, very close was exceptional. I know talking to a couple of the county board of supervisors, we're over 2 million people in the county that have received at least their first vaccination. So things are going really, really well. And again, our fire department and our Chula Vista employees have been a big part of that. I really appreciate that. Tracy Lamb, besides the awesome picture you had, I just wanted to thank you. We've had a tremendous amount of people who have been waiting for the rec centers to come back open, and I really appreciate you moving forward with this. I think a lot of people are just going to be very, very thankful, even during the phased opening, just to be able to participate and to be able to do things. And then the libraries, I appreciate that, and I know that I'm sure Andrea Cardenas and I really will be appreciative when we can get the South Library open, as well as me and Steve Padilla will be very happy when we can get the Otay Ranch Town Center Library back open. And the good thing is we're making progress, we're moving forward, and we really appreciate all your efforts, and this has been a great team effort. Thank you.
So just before you leave, things are looking good, but we also have to look at what's happened in communities that, experienced a drop in numbers and then a surge coming back. So that just is a precaution to everyone that, that the mask wearing is still going to be so important. And so we still have to remain cautious and be careful out there because this is not over by all means. We're getting to a better place, but we also know that when the guard has been let down, there can be reinfections. So we have to be, just careful. Even with that good news, we must, practice all those precautions so that we don't see a recurrence of this horrible thing. And, thank God to the community. We've endured this for over a year now, and there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And thank you for all your work. And as I continue to say, our staff has been absolutely remarkable through all of this and working so hard and shifting their duties and making sure that, every other available alternative to serve our community is there. So thank you very much. So thank you for the presentation and look forward to the next report, which I hope will be even better. Thank you. So with that, we will move on to the other presentation, and that's a proclamation to Principal Civil Engineer Frank Rivera. And I think Frank's going to be here in the audience. I heard he was.
No, Madam Mayor, good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. I'm at home and I will, with great pleasure, virtually accept the proclamation for May as Bike Month.
Okay, thank you very much. And he's, Frank's accepting this because he's an avid bicyclist and always advocating for more bike lanes. So, proclaiming May 2021 as National Bike Month in the city of Chula Vista, whereas the month of May is National Bike Month, which promotes bicycle commuting, safety, and driver awareness of bicycle riders, and whereas the city of Chula Vista adopted the Active Transportation Plan on May 12, 2020, which provides for bicycling and pedestrian improvements, including over 160 miles of dedicated bike lanes, paths, and routes connecting employment centers, neighborhoods, recreational areas, schools, and shopping centers. And whereas bicycling is a proven emission-free transportation alternative that encourages active lifestyles, reduces traffic congestion, reduces greenhouse gas emissions, and improves the livability of the community. And whereas the city of Chula Vista, recognized as a bronze level bicycle-friendly community by the League of American Bicyclists, has recently completed the Sweetwater Bicycle Path and Promenade in the Chula Vista Bayfront and the Bike Lanes on Broadway project. And whereas local businesses can promote bicycling by installing bike parking and other facilities to help customers and employees commute by bicycle. Whereas due to the COVID-19 stay-at-home orders issued in March of 2020, biking volumes during the period from mid-March to mid-August 2020 on the San Diego County Regional Bike Network were up 42% and over 54% higher on the San Diego Bayshore Bikeway. And whereas more than 4 in 5 or 84% of residents surveyed who said they were biking more now since the stay-at-home order began, and they expect to continue biking even when restrictions are lifted. Whereas due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and the 2021 San Diego Bike to Work Day event has been renamed Bike Anywhere Week, will continue to be celebrated for a full week during Bike Month, May 16th through May 21st, 2021, to encourage everyone in the San Diego region to bike anywhere. And whereas there are more than 1,600 miles of bikeways in the San Diego region with an average temperature of 71 degrees, but not today, making the San Diego region one of the best places in the county to go by bike. Now, therefore, I, Mary Casillas Salas, 40th Mayor of the City of Chula Vista, together with the City Council, do hereby proclaim May 2021 as National Bike Month and encourage employers and commuters to use alternatives to driving alone and go by bike this May and throughout the year. Thank you, Frank, for accepting the proclamation. On behalf
You're
of
welcome.
Thank you. Did you want to say
You're welcome.
something?
Yeah, just very brief. Please, the weather's getting nicer, the days are getting longer. Ride at your own pace and enjoy beautiful Chula Vistas outdoors. Wear a face mask and keep 6 feet apart. You can Google best masks for cyclists for those. And thank you very much, Mayor and City Council.
Okay, thank you. And I just heard that I have to get closer to the mic or talk louder. Okay, thank you, Frank. So our next special order of the day is proclaiming April 2021 as Maritime Month in the city of Chula Vista. And here to virtually accept the proclamation is our dear friend, Susan Johnson. Susan, are you there? You are, Susan. It's good to see you. Can't wait to see you in person.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Okay, so this is whereas springtime is a time of new beginnings and April, the month of worldwide Earth Day celebrations, it is most fitting also to encourage the community to go out and visit our bayfront. Whereas the city of Chula Vista, the county of San Diego, the port of San Diego's tidelands, nature preserve, and harbor provide an opportunity for all ages to explore our treasured resources together. And whereas the opening of the Costa Vista RV Park and the Sweetwater Bicycle Path and Promenade, the Chula Vista Bayfront project will be moving into the next phase of creating new public parks, protecting natural coastal resources, providing conference and visitor serving amenities, and building an important asset for the entire region. Whereas the city of Chula Vista Harbor provides a gateway to healthy outdoor, low impact, and passive recreation activities such as kayaking, sailing, fishing on the water, walking or biking on our nature trails and bike paths. Whereas the waterfront provides inspiration and a wonderful venue for the naturalist, the explorer, the photographer, and the plein air painter, artist, and scholars. Whereas the boatyard, marinas, restaurants, RV parks, and maritime businesses are a source of stable employment and economic development for our community. Whereas the Living Coast Discovery Center, Chula Vista Kayak, Chula Vista Water Sports, and the Historic Tall Ship Bill of Rights promote educational, environmental, and historic connections to our waterfront, bay, ocean, and maritime skills. Whereas the City of Chula Vista is committed to supporting a vibrant world-class working waterfront while protecting our natural treasure. Therefore, I, Mary Casillas, the Mayor of Chula Vista, together with the City Council, do hereby proclaim April 21st, 2021 as Maritime Month in the City of Chula Vista and encourage every resident to discover and explore our coastal connection. And Susan, I heard that you had an absolutely remarkable 1-minute video that captures our bayfront beauty. Did you want to say a few words before we start that?
Just a few words. It's the little video is just sort of a little taster. We had hoped that we would be able to have all sorts of wonderful events on the bayfront this April, but COVID. So we're going to take it. It's springtime, and all the new seeds are sprouting, and all of the businesses that you mentioned are busy planning wonderful things for people to do on the waterfront. But meanwhile, it calls to you, the ocean calls to you, come on down. The flowers are beginning to bloom. There's new plantings being put on. It's an amazing place, and everyone on the other side of 5 needs to come visit us on our side of I-5. You guys have an ocean waterfront with history and importance, and come and visit us. We're going to be doing some amazing things this year. We had all winter to plan, so beware. And here's an appetizer of how beautiful the waterfront is. Can you roll the video, please? And I need, oh, there we go. There is no sound.
Thank you, Susan. That was terrific. I think if we add sound to it, it'll be even better. But thank you very much for your passion and the investment that you've made in our Chula Vista Bayfront. Is there any council member that would like to make a comment? Okay, thank you very much, Susan. It was, oh, wait a minute, there's Ms. Galvez.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you so much, Susan and Don. If you all haven't ventured on the Bill of Rights, it's an absolutely amazing, is it 1972 replica of a historic schooner. And I had the pleasure a couple years ago of taking a cruise with Susan and Don. Their beautiful Bill of Rights is available for charter, for educational classes. And so that's another small business that I hope we all support in Chula Vista. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan?
Madam Mayor, I have a quick call out. We did receive from the West Marine a Blue Ocean grant of $1,500. We were one of very few people in America that received that for us to provide educational programs for the Chula Vista kids. So that will be working on the Bill of Rights. And then I also look forward to talking to Tracy Lamb and to develop more of our sailing programs, to work with you guys to develop more recreational programs on the waterfront to expand your recreational stuff.
Thank you, Susan.
And John, I'll be calling you in on that.
And I see your husband there, Don, waving in the background.
Will do.
Great to see you, Don, too. Thank you very much, both of you, for your work on the waterfront. You're both such remarkable people and such great volunteers for the city of Chula Vista. Thank you very much.
You will be hearing from us.
Bye, Susan.
Thank you, Susan.
Okay, our last proclamation of the day is proclaiming April the 4th through April the 11th as Days of Remembrance in the city of Chula Vista. And I do have Sandy Scheller here, our wonderful Sandy Scheller, who was the creator and the curator of our Holocaust exhibit in the library, in the Civic Library. And so I'm going to read the proclamation, and then Sandy has a video that she's prepared for us as well. So, whereas the Holocaust was a state-sponsored systematic persecution and annihilation of the European Jewry by Nazi Germany and its collaborators between 1933 and 1945, 6 million were murdered: Roma, or gypsies, people with disabilities. The Poles were also targeted for destruction or dissemination for racial, ethnic, or national reasons, and millions more, including homosexuals, Jehovah's Witnesses, Soviet prisoners of war, and political dissidents, also suffered grievous oppression and death under the Nazi tyranny. And whereas the history of the Holocaust offers an opportunity to reflect on the moral responsibility of individuals, societies, and governments, whereas we, the people of Chula Vista, should always remember the terrible events of the Holocaust and remain vigilant against hatred, persecution, and tyranny. Whereas we, the people of Chula Vista, should actively rededicate ourselves to the principles of individual freedom in a just society. Whereas the days of remembrance have been set aside for the people of Chula Vista to remember the victims of the Holocaust, as well as to reflect on the need for the respect of all people. And whereas, pursuant to an act of Congress, Public Law 96-388, October 7th, 1980, the United States Holocaust Memorial Council designates Day of Remembrance of the Victims of the Holocaust to be Sunday, April the 4th through Sunday, April the 11th, including Day of Remembrance known as Yom HaShoah, April the 8th, 2018. And whereas the city of Chula Vista is committed to continuing Holocaust education and awareness with the testimonies from Holocaust survivors for all students, teachers, and anyone wanting to hear a Holocaust survivor speak. Sorry about that. Whereas the city of Chula Vista is committed to continuing Holocaust education awareness with testimonies from Holocaust survivors for all students, teachers, and anyone wanting to hear a Holocaust survivor speak. Now, therefore, I, Mary Casillas Salas, 40th Mayor of the city of Chula Vista, together with the City of Council, do hereby proclaim the week of April the 4th through April the 11th as Days of Remembrance in memory of victims of Holocaust and in honor of the survivors as well as the rescuers and liberators, and further proclaim that we, the citizens of Chula Vista, should work to promote human dignity and confront hate wherever it occurs, Chula Vista will never forget. And Miss Sandy Scheller, you will make sure of that. Sandy?
Wow. I see so many of my friends, people I can call my friends. John McCann, Steve, Jill, my new city council person, if I can say that. Do you remember it was close to midnight when I was getting the approval from you because of all the issues that were in city council? And I remember I didn't know if I should say good evening, city council, or if I say good morning, city council, because it was that late. And I had this dream and it came true. We can say that Chula Vista has a Holocaust exhibit, Holocaust Museum. For those of you who came on our opening day in January on the 12th in 2020, how great it was to have the head of the Shoah Foundation and so many wonderful people, including the 5 survivors and their families come. I didn't do this alone. I did this with a great amount of help. And when my mom was alive, she really instilled in me that I was born out of the ashes of the Holocaust. I didn't sign up for this, but I knew I had to do something. And when we chose to write a book so we could let people know the importance of the Holocaust and to get it into Chula Vista schools, that was my main goal. And to know today that at the Chula Vista Public Library, we have Ruth, Remember Us the Holocaust, and we know that we're going to open up again. It's been extended until 2021. I would like to read for 2 seconds something that came from somebody who mentored me in 2016. And it says, "Let us recommit to raise our voices against every form of intolerance, indifference, and injustice, and let us endeavor to build a world where we all can live together in peace." And that's from Barack Obama. And when you get things like this from Barack Obama, you make it a point to never give up. One thing I have learned, I don't think I'll ever be able to do enough in my lifetime for Holocaust awareness, but I'll do everything that I can. I cannot do this alone. And the people that helped me were Joy Watley, Mary Salas. Oh my God, I don't know what I would do without Mary. My city council, I call you my city council. Harry Orgavon, my partner in crime. Patty Huffman, imagine somebody coming to the meetings and she's 91 years old. That's amazing. Adriana Hernandez, I don't know what I would have done without her. Rabbi Mendy and Musi Began, they were just like our everything when we got together, and everything that we were trying to do was so important to us. And then when we decided to do Our Lives, Our Future, which is our virtual program that you have, it's on YouTube, we linked it to 2 different things. One of them is called Holocaust Education for Chula Vista Schools, and the other one is called Chula Vista Heritage Museum Virtual Programs. There you can see hours and hours of first-hand Holocaust survivors, and we are continuing. It's one thing that I'll do, and I will never give up. Just so you know, Art During the Holocaust, which was the panel that we did at Comic-Con, reached close to 10,000 viewers. We were the top panel at Comic-Con that was a non-star, you know, like superstar, like Brad Pitt superstar panel. So I believe we've put Chula Vista on the map, and I believe we're going to continue. Today I asked for an exhibit. Tomorrow I'm going to ask for a museum. And I hate to warn you this, but I will never give up. I can't thank you enough. I just want to shout out that when I needed to take a walk and I needed to get away, I made it a point to go to the Bayfront, and I would stare in front of the Bill of Rights, and I would bug Don and I would bug Susan, and nothing makes me more proud than to go over to Don Johnson and say, Captain John, permission to go aboard. So if you're in that place where you need to just see a beautiful waterfront, I just want to throw that out there. And she didn't pay me to say that. So with that, I would like to present to you a film called 6 Minutes for 6 Million. And without your help, City Council, and without the help of Darren Schwartz from the San Diego Jewish Federation, this could not have been made. It's not just the Chula Vista Holocaust survivors, but it's other people who came to the exhibit and helped me. And just so you know, when you see Solomon Schlosser, he died about 2 months ago. And I'm going to miss him like I miss my own Ruthie and Mcrt. So with that, grab your popcorn and let's watch 6 Minutes for 6 Million.
My name is Fanny Krasner-Lebowitz, and I'm a Holocaust survivor. My hope for the future is that I need to pass on the message, what happened to me, that it should never happen again to anyone else that comes after me. There shouldn't be any hate, there should be hope, and there should be a lot of love.
My name is Dr. Edith Eva Eger. I'm a human being who experienced the worst unfortunate period in life in 1944 when I was taken to Auschwitz.
My name is Ruth Goldschmiedova-Sachs. I'm one of the few survivors of the Holocaust, not from one or two, from 3 camps. I'm not sure if you have ever met a Holocaust survivor, so here I am.
I'm Renee Haber, and I'm a Holocaust survivor.
My name is Rose Chandler. I'm a Holocaust survivor.
And little by little, they opened up and they started singing in the groups.
The first day I saw him, I said, that's the guy I'm going to marry.
My name is Pearl Recht. I'm a Holocaust survivor, and I'm 88 years young.
My name is Ursula Israelski, and I'm a Holocaust survivor. I'm 84 years old.
My name is Willard Dreyfus. I'm a Holocaust survivor. I'll be 90 years old next March.
I'm Solomon Schlosser. I survived the Holocaust and I'm 96 years old. I hope to be a few years more in my life.
My name is Ben Midler, and I was born on June 27, 1928 in Białystok, Poland, and I'm a Holocaust survivor, and I'm 92 years old.
My name is Bela Mark, and I'm a Holocaust survivor.
My name is Jacqueline Lewicki, and I am a Holocaust survivor.
I survived the Nazi regime.
I am delicious, 97 years old, Holocaust survivor.
My name is Dora Klinova. I'm a Holocaust survivor, and I want to tell people, forgive. Forgive everybody who did for you something wrong, because they do wrong, something wrong with them. Happy people do not insult anybody.
My name is Lou Pecci, and I'm a Holocaust survivor. And my message to the world is that I want to tell my story so that we learn not to repeat what has been happened before.
My name is Anita Fuchs. I am a Holocaust survivor. I am here because we have to fight to do everything what we can to not let never, ever, ever to happen again.
My name is Vera Falos Laurel. I'm a Holocaust survivor. Actually, I'm a child survivor because during the war I was 5 years old. My message is hope, that I'm here with my wonderful family thanking me that I came to this country when I came.
My name is Manya Wallenfels, and I am a Holocaust survivor.
My message of hope is to show the world what happened to 6 million people, and also for those to give the message who cannot speak no longer. We need peace.
My name is Mike Wallenfels. I am Anya's husband. I was born in Budapest, Hungary in 1934, and I survived the Holocaust in the Budapest ghetto. And my message is and hope is that this sort of a thing will never happen again in the future.
Imagine one Holocaust survivor pushing another.
We were ghetto. First we were, but she's different place too. I am a different place.
My name is Doris Martin, and I'm a Holocaust survivor. Everybody has a hope. I hope it should never happen that we should all have a right to live in this world in peace.
My name is Gerhard Maschkowski. I am a survivor of the Holocaust, and I've survived Auschwitz. And proof of that is this.
My name is Francesca Gelbart. I am a survivor of 5 concentration camps. I do bear a number from Auschwitz on my left arm, which is A 26,284.
Sandy, thank you so much. You've given a great gift to our community. And, I've met a lot of these people through you. And as a young child, my dad was in World War II. And so we were very aware as children what happened during World War II, because my father had books about it. And then we would watch, Victory on the Sea and all of those kinds of things that made my generation very, very aware of, the horrific things that happened during that time. And so, and I read a lot about it, and I continue to read the stories because they're also inspiring, and they all have this message about, the inhumanity that man can force on another human being, and that, we're all created by God, whichever God you believe in, and that we all have a right to dignity and to life. And so the whole discussion, it never ends. We never should let our guard down, because we do see occurrences of genocide and terrible things happening all over the world today. And they have been here, but nothing on the scale of a government-sponsored annihilation of a whole people. And so I really, really want to thank you, Sandy, and all the people that participated in putting this together. It is truly a gift to us, and I think that actually COVID was a great gift, because we have that exhibit in the library, and we know that a lot of people came through it, but not as many has been reached as the work that you've done with your interviews that you've done subsequently. And I encourage all the council members to really take the time to look at the entire filming of each of these individuals' life stories that Sandy has recorded over time. And a lot of them are really in depth. Some of them are 45 minutes long. But they're well worth the time that people will take to review their stories. And I just am simply moved by the work that has been done. And I think that the city of Chula Vista is very privileged to have that exhibit and to have somebody with the perseverance and the passion that was demonstrated by Sandy when she first presented this idea to me. I had no idea the impact that it would make on our community, and the children that have seen the exhibit have heard Holocaust survivors like your mother going on tour to the elementary schools. It's so important that we, not only my generation, but all generations, never forget about what happened and are aware of this. So our gratitude to you, Sandy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can I say two things?
Really?
We gave $5,000. Our Chula Vista Heritage Museum South Bay Historical Society gave $5,000 to the Chula Vista City Schools so that we will continue having school buses come to visit. So every child should be able to see this. Our YouTube channel, again, is Chula Vista Heritage Museum Virtual Programs. And sorry for gossiping, Mayor, but when I needed a camera person to help me with Edith Eva Eager, it was Mayor Salas who was behind the camera. I just want you to know that. So not only is she a great mayor, but she's a great camera person too. I love you all. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Sandy. Continue your good work.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's hard to move on from this, but it's so important for our community. With that, we're going to move on to the consent calendar, and we only have 4 items on the consent calendar. I haven't received any requests from the public or the city council members to pull an item, but right now I will allow for 2 minutes to allow for other public comments from the public. So if you'll set the timer, City Clerk.
Madam Mayor and City Council, while we're allowing time for additional comments, I did want to call to your attention that we have received 6 e-comments in support of item number 4.
Madam Clerk, did we receive any comments?
No additional comments were received.
Okay, thank you very much. With that, I will offer the consent calendar. And
Second.
Seconded by Mr. McCann. Madam Clerk, would you please read the headings?
Item 1 is approval of minutes of December 8th, 2020 and January 5th, 2021. Item 2 is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista ordering the summary vacation of a portion of an irrevocable offer of dedication for open space and other public purposes of Lot A per final map number 16291, Chula Vista tract number 15-0007, Otay Ranch Planning Area 12. Item 3 is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista approving the reclassification of one FA analyst to FA intelligence analyst in the authorized staffing of the police grants section of the Federal Grants Fund for the San Diego Law Enforcement Coordination Center. Item 4 is ordinance of the City of Chula Vista establishing the speed limits at the following segments. 1, Bonita Glen Drive between Bonita Road and the Chula Vista city limit at 25 miles per hour. 2, increasing East Lake Parkway between Olympic Parkway and Hunt Parkway from 45 miles an hour to 50 miles an hour. And 3, increasing Birch Road between La Media Road and East Lake Parkway from 45 miles an hour to 50 miles an hour. And amending Schedule X of the register maintained in the office of the city engineer to reflect the established speed limits. First reading. And I'll now ask for the votes by roll call. Councilmember Cardenas, your vote, please.
Aye.
Councilmember Galvez.
Aye.
Councilmember McCann.
Aye.
Councilmember Padilla.
Aye.
And Mayor Casillas-Salas.
Aye. So the consent calendar passes unanimously. With that, we'll go on to the public comments section of the agenda. And persons commenting during public comments may address the City Council on any subject matter within the Council's jurisdiction that is not on tonight's agenda. So let's see, Madam Clerk, would you set the timer, because I don't have any public comments that I can see on the iPad. Okay, thank you. So let's see, Madam Clerk, the time is up, and the problem is that I'm having difficulty viewing the comments that were received through the website. So can you please summarize those comments for me, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we do have 2 e-comments that were submitted. One is requesting information regarding the use of native plants and is in support of the use of native plants. That one will refer to staff to respond to the individual who made the comment. The second comment is requesting information regarding e-comments and access to the letters and the emails that were received by the city regarding the ALPR program. Those are the 2 e-comments that we received. We also received 2 emails that were sent to the council and are available to the public online. One is an article regarding teens opposed to cannabis activities, and the second one is a compilation of 140 comments in support of the Rice and Snake Canyon Loop Trail Pilot Program.
And that's it. Okay. Thank you very much, and I'm sorry I had difficulties in accessing the web comments, and I hope the council did have the ability to do that prior to the council meeting. So with that, we will move on to the public hearings, and we do have 2 items, and item number 6 is a public hearing. And the action under consideration involves the City Council acting as the legislative body of the Bayfront Project Financing District, considering making changes to the rate and method of apportionment of special taxes authorized to be levied within the Bayfront Project Special Tax Financing District, and expanding the territory wherein improvements may be located and services provided. Is there a staff report?
There is no staff report, Mayor, council members, but Tiffany Allen is available to respond to questions, and we also have special tax consultants available.
Okay, so council members, are there any comments from you or or questions from the staff?
Mine is that.
Okay, seeing none, this is a time and place for the public hearing to consider making changes to the rate and method of apportionment of special taxes authorized to be levied within the Bayfront Project Special Tax Financing District, and expanding the territory wherein improvements may be located and services may be provided. So I will now open the public hearing, and we will wait 4 minutes for any additional testimony.
You should be good to go. It's showing those 2 comments that were on the public comment.
Yeah.
Just go to the next item there. That's
How come it wasn't showing before? The time is up, Madam Clerk. Did we receive any comments?
No comments were received, Madam Mayor, and further, there were no written protests received, and therefore there is no majority protest as defined by the applicable provisions of Chapter 3.61 of the Chula Vista Municipal Code.
Okay, thank you very much. And I noticed that item number 7 coming up there is one public comment on there, but it seems it's related to this item. That comment is just a question. It says, when will this item go before the Coastal Commission since it's amending the Bayfront zoning? So, is
Thank
that?
you.
Yeah, so I think that they meant that for this particular item here.
We will note that for the record. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. I will close the public comment period. So, Mayor, can the city clerk please provide the protest count of the landowners?
No protests were received, Madam Mayor, so there is no majority protest.
Okay, I will make the motion to adopt resolutions A and B, and Ms. Galvez seconds that. Thank you. Thank you. So, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Thank you. Item 6A is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista, acting as the legislative body of the Bayfront Project Special Tax Financing District, making certain determinations, calling a special mail ballot election, and submitting to the qualified electors of such district a proposition to authorize changes to the rate and method of apportionment of special taxes authorized to be levied therein, and expand territory wherein improvements may be located and services may be provided. Item 6B is resolution of the City Council of the City of Chula Vista designating certain authorized representatives to vote in the Bayfront Project Special Tax Financing District Special Mail Ballot Election. And I'll now ask for the votes by roll call. Councilmember Cardenas, your vote, please.
Aye.
Councilmember Galvez.
Aye.
Councilmember McCann.
Aye.
Councilmember Padilla.
Aye.
And Mayor Casillas-Salas.
Aye. And so the resolutions pass unanimously. And with that, we'll go on to item number 7, which is the consideration of amending the Chula Vista Municipal Code with regard to accessory and junior dwelling units. However, item number 7 has been requested by staff to be pulled from the agenda. Since it is a public hearing, I will open the public hearing, but request that it be continued to May 25th. And therefore, is there a motion to continue this item till May 25th? Ms.
So
Galvez,
moved.
thank you for your motion, Ms. Galvez. And Mr.
Second.
McCann, you can second it. So, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll for approval to move this to the 25th?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And to clarify, this will be the May 25th meeting at 5 o'clock p.m. And I'll ask for the votes by roll call. Councilmember Cardenas, your vote, please.
Aye.
Councilmember Galvez.
Aye.
Councilmember McCann.
Aye.
Councilmember Padilla.
Aye.
And Mayor Casillas-Salas.
Aye. So the motion to continue the item to the 25th passed unanimously, and the public comment or the public hearing will remain open until that time. So there are no action items tonight, and so then we'll go on to that concludes the business of the evening. So now we'll go on to the city manager's report. I think you have some interesting news for us.
Well, I have a couple of items to go over with you. The first one is really an update on the American Rescue Plan. Pretty close to what I had provided to you last council meeting, but just want to give you a little bit of an update. Do you have the presentation? So as I mentioned previously, the city is anticipated to receive about $60 million from the American Rescue Plan Act. Next slide. So the guidelines that we currently have in front of us that have been provided by the Treasury Department is the funds can be used to respond to the public health emergency, address negative economic impacts to the city. It also provides the ability to fund premium pay for our really essential workers. It can be used to address the loss of revenues due to COVID, and also allows us to invest in water, sewer, or broadband infrastructure. The funds must be spent by December 31st, 2024. That sounds like it's a long way off, but it does take quite a bit of time to really get these monies out the doors and get these infrastructure projects done. So we really want to put together a plan for council to consider. We haven't actually received the funds yet. I haven't received the documents from the Treasury Department signing off that we are in need of these funds. We're hoping that that will come shortly. But we will be receiving the funds in 2 allotments. The first allotment, half of it will be received in May of this year, and the other half will be received in May of 2022. Next slide. So we cannot use these funds to directly or indirectly offset a reduction in net tax revenue. That means if you go forward with a tax reduction, this can't be used to offset that. And we cannot deposit or use it for pension funds. So that's very clear that those are not allowed uses. Next slide. But we also know that there's a lot of other funding sources that are coming, a lot of funds to the state, to the county in these categories: transportation, small business and nonprofit support, housing assistance, food security, and public health. So beyond what the city is going to be receiving, there are other funding sources being received at the county and state level. The challenge, I think, for our community is going to be, knowing the process, how they're going to apply for these funding opportunities. So the communication, as it's been a challenge from the time we started with COVID, will continue to be a challenge, and we're trying to obviously try to find ways where we can do additional outreach efforts to the community that is not connected to the internet and is having a harder time being able to apply for these funding sources. So we are going to be working on some sort of a communication plan so we can make sure that everyone has an opportunity to access these funds. Next slide. So the next steps for us, this program or this will be led by the Finance and Economic Development Departments. So Economic Development and Finance will be asking for departmental requests. We're going to be doing community outreach. And we are also doing surveys and data gathering. We are putting together a spending plan for council consideration so you can see where all the recommendations are and the input that we received from the different groups. But we are looking at this and trying to incorporate a lens of equity and inclusion. We've had parts of our community that have been hit harder from COVID than others, so we'll make sure we address those challenges in an equitable way. We may be coming forward for partial allocations of these funds before we get the spending plan completed. But just also want to make it clear that these funds are not included, or will not be included as part of the city manager proposed budget. It would be a separate action item. So that's really the updates we have. We're still waiting on the final guidelines from the federal government, which we anticipate we'll be getting in mid-May. That's the latest information we have received, but just wanted to make sure we keep this in front of you for consideration. And that's really the update on that topic. Okay, so the other item I wanted to talk to the council about is a mobile crisis response team. So last fall, the County of San Diego Health and Human Services Department approached us to discuss what they refer to as the MCRT program. So this program provides for non-law enforcement response related to behavioral health crisis. The county is actually operating a pilot project up in north coastal cities, and they are discussing the opportunities to expand the program. So they did provide us a draft MOA so we can start the conversation and partner with the county to explore the MCRT services program. Again, this is a county program, but what we would be agreeing to is to support and coordinate MCRT services operating in the city with the county contractor who they would select, provide reasonable access to the city's 911 emergency dispatch call center, provide Health and Human Services and the contractor reasonable access to applicable data on our 911 calls. The access, of course, will be provided to the extent permissible under law. So we are agreeing to collaborate with the county and the contractor on the development of a decision tree for MCRT referrals. So we still don't have a lot of details on how that is going to work. Therefore, this MOA is really not a commitment to implement, but a commitment to explore, as we do agree with the concept of the MCRT program. So the contact for the city is Captain Phil Collum, who's also available on tonight's meeting to answer any questions. He's going to be the one leading this, and hopefully we can move forward with this. But there's still a lot of questions on this and how it's actually going to work. So I just wanted to inform the council that this is something that we're going to be, discussing with the County of San Diego. Phil, do you have anything to add, or Councilmember?
Thank you, City Manager Kachadorian. That was a fantastic overview, actually. You stole all my thunder. That's okay. So members of the City Council, Madam Mayor, and staff, for those in the public that don't know me, my name is Captain Phil Collum. I'm in charge of the Operations Division of the Police Department, which includes our psychiatric emergency response team efforts. As you already know, Chula Vista Police Department has been a leader in this region, continues to be in this effort. We have an incredible partnership with the county already. And that team, the PERT team, we have trained a large number of our staff specifically to train them in how to respond to de-escalate and handle a variety of psychiatric emergencies and mental health crises. But still, to this day, we respond to about 2,500 calls of mental health crisis every single year, and that includes calls where a psychiatric situation is the primary factor, but also calls where it's a contributing factor. That's about 7 calls a day, and about roughly 4% of our overall call for service for the city. So this is an area that I think we've all looked for potentially different ways of handling the variety of crisis situations that could come in the field. And so, as the city manager articulated, we began some discussions last year. And we continue those discussions to this day. We're finally at a point where we are ready to start really getting down to the nitty-gritty of how this program can work in Chula Vista and how we can work together to handle and provide better services to the clientele, but also help divert calls, quite honestly, that don't necessarily require law enforcement or EMS intervention, yet still make sure that the clients are handled accordingly. So we are Chula Vista should be very proud, not only of its police department and what we've already done, but quite honestly, once again, Chula Vista is leading the region. We hope to be, if things work out, one of the first areas beyond the initial pilot of this program, which is currently up in North County Coastal. We hope to be the first area in which this program continues to expand and grow, as long as we can work out those details, answer some questions, and get everything sort of figured out. So this MOA is for the purpose of just doing just that, helping get it sorted out so that we can continue to expand. Nothing in the MOA requires us necessarily to bring this program down into Chula Vista, but it's a first step to a much more detailed exploratory process. And I have to give huge thanks to my lieutenant, Henry Martin, who many of you know. He's taken a lead on this issue, as he has on many other great issues for our community. And then, of course, our partners at the County Department of Health and Human Services Agency, as well as specifically Dr. Luke Bergman at the County Behavioral Health Services. He's been a great advocate for this and for us as well. And they have said quite clearly that Chula Vista is on the leading edge of this in the region, as is, by the way, our partners in nearby National City, and they hope to for this expand first into South County before it expands in the other areas. Again, we have a little bit of work to get there, but it's very, very positive process and progress for our community. So I'm available should anybody have any questions.
Boy, it's really good to hear the progress that's being made on that, and hopefully we can form that partnership with the county. I had no idea we had 2,500 calls a year for psychiatric crisis. So that's remarkable, and I'm just really encouraged by the report. Mr. Padilla, I know that you had a question or comment and or both.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Thank you, City Manager Kachadorian and Captain Collum. I just want to clarify, ultimately then, based on the report, that what would be required beyond the MOA, in quotes, that the city manager has described here, once an actual operational agreement is concluded? Is there another item that comes before the council for approval for that formal agreement, or are we considering that this is that agreement? Because here's my concern. Obviously, I support the program. Obviously, I understand the issue. Obviously, we want to collaborate with the county, but what I'm getting are kind of conflicting messages. The city manager has said repeatedly, both just now and privately, that this is nothing more than a commitment to talk about details. But when she read portions of the proposed MOA, which in fairness has not at least been provided to me in terms of the actual document, but what she's read sounds a whole lot like a commitment to me. And the way you, Captain, have described the discussions and the program sounds like the deal's pretty much done. So there seems to, at least to me, it seems like we're entering into an agreement here without calling it that. And I just want to be clear about what exactly we're doing, because are we just agreeing to negotiate and have another agreement come forward for council approval? Or are we really, in essence, concluding an agreement here with the county that commits us to participate operationally in this program?
So you can answer, but that's not how I heard it at all. What I heard is that this is an agreement to explore what that would look like, but certainly that would require a council decision and a council approval to enter into anything binding, is my read on it.
Right.
Ms.
I think,
Cacciatorian?
yes. So the AMA does include some items. I can understand where Councilmember Diaz, where his comments are coming from, because we are saying that we would be willing to provide reasonable access to our 911 system. So yes, there are some terms that I think they want to make sure that we are open to up front. Otherwise, this program wouldn't move forward. So there are some things that we're saying up front that yes, we would consider, providing you this kind of access. But I have every intention to bring this back for council consideration, because there's still a lot of questions that we have as well. But if we don't let them know that we are willing to provide them access to our systems, this isn't going to go anywhere. I mean, there's no point, right? That's why I called that out. But it's definitely something that we would bring back, because I still have a lot of questions too about liabilities. There's exactly how this program would be rolled out. How do you make the determination where there should be a public, officers responding versus, the public health professionals? So definitely something that, we not only need to bring back to the council, but we need to bring back publicly for the community to understand. So.
No, I appreciate that. Again, based on the language that has been provided to me so far and what you just read, the language was a little bit concerning to me. I'm happy to support and to voice my support for this dialogue continuing. I just want to be clear that you executing the MOA, that we're not pre-committing the city to participation in the program before those details and impacts are actually fully analyzed and fleshed out.
And as long as yes, and I think our attorney's still awake, and we'll make sure that language is clear in the MOA before I sign it. Thank you for the feedback.
Thank you very much.
Captain, did
you want to add to that? Just to add a little context, and it's a wonderful question from the council member, and I thank him for it, because it is a little confusing. But we did actually add specifically some language to the MOA to actually specifically state that nothing in the MOA is intended to be an indication to a requirement of a partnership or anything like that. And I can provide a little bit of context. So when I spoke to the county yesterday about this very topic, actually, just to make sure they were on the same page that I understood, they were, and they clarified that really, it's the South County that, again, has been on the forefront of this, and that they would like the South County, including Chula Vista, to be at the forefront of the growing rollout. They've had this small pilot project going up in North County Coastal just since January of this year. So recently, in fact, they don't really have hard and fast data. But they have opened up a request for proposals. I'm not sure, I may have that technically correct. It could be some other kind of request, but they're actually seeking a contractor for the management of this program, as well as staff for that contractor for a much larger rollout. So if I were to take a risk at interpreting that, I could understand why they might desire to have sort of, and this is their words, to have a public acknowledgement of the intended working relationship between the city of Chula Vista and the County of San Diego HHSA, as they're bringing on this much larger potential entity and potential involvement before they dig too deep into it. And so really the MOA truly is a request and a public acknowledgement of that exploratory effort between the city of Chula Vista, but at the same time outlining directly in there that it is not an actual agreement to actually partner on the project yet. There's still, as the city manager said, probably more questions than we have answers at this point.
Great. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the council members? Okay.
So just one last thing, Mayor?
Yes.
So I did want to take the opportunity.
Thank you,
I don't want to
Captain.
interrupt. What was that? Sorry.
I just said thank you to the captain.
Okay. So I didn't want to interrupt Sandy Scheller in her presentation, but I did want to thank her publicly because I appreciate very much that she allowed the Armenian genocide to be recognized and to be honored in the same event. My husband's Armenian, so it meant a lot to him and his family, and to my children to be able to have somewhere to go to acknowledge that, because I don't think there's anything like that that I'm aware of in San Diego County. So I did want to publicly thank her for that.
Thank you. I'm sure that Councilmember Galvez does too,
Yes.
because her grandmother has some very interesting stories, or had some very interesting stories about her experiences as well. Ms. Galvez is Armenian as well, so it is something that has to be remembered. Thank you very much. Was that it? Yeah. Okay, so with that, I'll go on to my mayor's report. So I wanted to ask Mr. Padilla, since he's going to make a ratification of, he has an appointee as well, that we could take it up in one action. And so, Mr. Padilla, are you agreeable to that, or would you like to do it separately?
That is perfectly fine with me, Madam Mayor.
Okay, great. So I will put forward my recommendations for appointment, and that would be Nicole Enriquez to the Measure Peace Oversight Committee, and she would be the Parks and Recreation Commission representative, and also Sylvia Saldivar to the Measure P Oversight Committee, and she is would be the representative for Alliance of Californians for Community Empowerment rep. And Steve, would you put forward your nominee now, please?
Thank you. I would like to offer the appointment of Saad Ilyas as a representative from District 3.
Okay, and I will, do I have a motion to approve that? So,
yeah, Madam Mayor, we do want to do the couple minutes for public input.
Sorry, I forgot about
okay.
that. So we have to allow 2 minutes for any public to comment on the appointment process.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Madam Mayor and City Council, while we're waiting for the additional time for the public to submit any comments, we don't have any comments at this time on items 9 or 10. I did want to clarify for the record, after additional analysis and input from staff, that The comment that was submitted on item 7 was indeed intended for item 7, not for item 6, and so that will be recorded under item 7.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarification.
And the commenting period has expired for items 9 and 10. No comments were received.
Okay, thank you very much. So with that, is there a motion to approve the nominations? Okay, Ms. Cardenas makes a motion and Mr. Padilla seconds. So, Madam Clerk, would you please?
Thank you. This is approvals of the ratifications of appointments for items 9 and 10. And I'll ask for the votes by roll call. Councilmember Cardenas, your vote, please.
Aye.
Councilmember Galvez.
Aye.
Councilmember McCann.
Aye.
Councilmember Padilla.
Aye.
And Mayor Casillas-Salas.
Aye. Thank you very much. So please notify the appointees that they've been ratified, and then we'll put them to work after they take their oath of office. Okay, thank you very much. So going on to my mayor's report, we see spring all around us, and spring, what did they say? Hope springs eternal. And just the landscape around Chula Vista is looking so beautiful in our parkways and our avenues with all the trees in bloom. So thank you, Sam, our tree guy, for keeping our trees healthy and beautiful. And so much positive news is coming down, with the COVID numbers coming down and things opening up. We still have to remain cautious, but, thank you, community, for hanging in there. And some great news tomorrow, April the 14th, will be the opening of Farmer's Table in downtown Chula Vista at the old Marie Callender's site. And I've already made my reservations. So I hope that the community supports this great restaurant. I know that I've been to the location in La Mesa, and then last week, the location in Little Italy. They have a fantastic, healthy, locally sourced menu, so I hope all of you enjoy that. So on Friday, I again participated with Meals on Wheels delivery, and they are looking for volunteers. So if anybody has some time to spare and wants to be of service to the community and people that can't get out of their homes for meals, they do need volunteers for Meals on Wheels. And then, let's see, I attended the UCSD Healthiest Cities and Counties Challenge graduation on that same day on March the 24th. And then I spoke to the Heritage Elementary School second grade Genius Club, and I've got to tell you, every one of those kids that I talked to is a lot smarter than many of us. So, our future is well guaranteed with the second graders at Heritage. They were just amazing with their questions and their insight. And then again, the virtual exhibit from Sweetwater Union High School District art exhibition. The artwork is phenomenal. There's so much talent in our community relative to the visual arts. And then I, along with several wonderful colleagues of mine, were honored by the MANA of San Diego, celebrating Women's History Month, and we were named to their Ring of Honor, so that was really awesome. And then on Thursday, April the 1st, I watched Ariel Conde donate his 100 gallons of blood. He actually has donated since 1988 to the San Diego Blood Bank. And then, of course, we had the ALPR Public Forum, and we're still receiving comments on that. And then the same day, April 7th, the firefighters in our fire department had a wonderful celebration welcoming the new EMTs and the paramedics with a nice little party for them out in the open and they featured a taco truck for them. Many of them were from out of town that were hired by our fire department to staff the new ambulances. So they were just amazed with how good our tacos are in Chula Vista. That's no news to anybody that lives in Chula Vista. So we rolled out the new ambulance service, and I've been able to see a couple of the units already responding to calls in Chula Vista. So, and all the EMTs and the paramedics were just so happy to be employed by the city of Chula Vista. And they said that our equipment was wonderful and that they would be able to provide premier service to our community. And then Ms. Cardenas and I actually went to Our Lady of Guadalupe Church on Saturday, and the Father Chang there is just a remarkable community servant as well as a spiritual leader. He takes care of his flock, and so the church was open for a vaccine center. I don't know how many vaccines that they gave out, but there were lines all the way from the church all the way to 3rd Avenue, so it was really well attended. And with that, I would like to move on to the council member comments, and tonight I'll begin with Mr. Padilla.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, and my congratulations to the launch on our medical transport and many of our new excited professionals that we brought on board as members of the staff. I've seen those guys out and about, and gals, and just really excited that we've moved into this phase. I know that we're going to adjourn in memory, but I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the passing of former Chief Rick Emerson, and to express my love and condolences to Candy and the entire Emerson family. I worked many, many years in my service on this council before, and certainly most closely when I served as mayor with Chief Emerson almost on a daily basis. He was someone who taught me some things, always leveled with me. His heart and soul was in the occupation that he chose. He mentored many others. He never put on airs. He wasn't a game player. He wasn't a politician. He was a serious professional and dedicated to his chosen craft. One of the things I'm most proud of is during a very personally and politically difficult period of my career in life, when I came out in office as mayor, ran into a lot of baloney. Rick was one of the few people from that world, and even from our own city staff, who picked up the phone, who gave me his encouragement and support. And beginning that year and for a few years thereafter, I was very proud to brag about the fact that Chula Vista PD's presence in the annual San Diego Pride Parade was the largest, even over San Diego cities. He loved his motorcycle. He never stopped being a motor officer. He enjoyed that, flying the flag of our city and our department, as you say. He's left behind the legacy of a lot of professionals in the service, many of whom still serve today, including Chief Kennedy. And so I just want to express my deep appreciation for all that he did, not just for this community and this city as an agency, but as a human being. And I'll miss him a great deal. I'll always be grateful for working closely with him.
Thank you for those words, Steve. And one thing that we never gave Chief Emerson that he wanted was a helicopter. Actually, I remember we gave him a little tiny toy one.
I think I remember those phone calls and the toy helicopter.
Right. We couldn't afford the $1 million helicopter, so we gave him a toy. Thank you. There were a lot of good memories. Mr. McCann.
Thank you very much. Again, I want to thank everybody who celebrated Easter and Passover. It was, I think, a great time with our religious community and community members. It was very, very, very refreshing. And as we all care about each other, it was tremendous. I want to thank our community as I continue to go throughout the community, how well everybody's looking after everybody else. People are wearing masks, they're keeping their social distancing, they're making sure they're taking care of their neighbors. It really shows how well our community cares about each other. I also want to thank our fire department. It was great being at the EMT ambulance kickoff, and it's always invigorating when you see great young people just so excited to do their craft and be able to serve the community. And I just incredibly happy to see this successful. They are just a group of great people, and looking forward for them to be able to help our community, especially when people are in their worst times of their life. I know these folks will be able to help them get through that and protect and save people. I also want to talk about Chief Emerson. Um, it's amazing because he was just an incredibly great professional, and had a great wife, or has a great wife and great family with Candy Emerson. And when I got on board, he just had a great vision. And many of the people that are in the command staff today at our police department are there because of the hiring of Chief Emerson. And you can see when they do their public surveys and things like that, our police department has one of the highest approval ratings out of any city in the entire county, state, and other places that I know of. And Chief Emerson just was incredibly professional, but he was also a lot of fun. I spent a couple times at meetings at Kiwanis with him, and he just was so intelligent. And even though he was professional, he always had to be able to bring up some witty comment. And yes, he definitely would always talk about getting a helicopter. And it's too bad because I know when Captain Rivera was here and Captain Salih were here, they would always say, well, we do have a helicopter, but it's going to be called a drone and not a helicopter. So I think we should all be very thankful and blessed that he did serve our community. And I think everybody should continue to look at their own health. Chief Emerson was an incredibly healthy and, in my opinion, a young person. And unfortunately, you just never know what'll happen and what's around the corner. So just wanted to say, God bless you, Chief. Thank you.
Ms. Cardenas?
Well, good night, everybody. So, yeah, I'm going to follow up on a little bit of what the mayor mentioned regarding our the vaccination event that happened on Saturday. I would be remiss if I didn't mention some of the other organizations that we partnered with. First of all, a huge shout out to the governor's office that was able to make that possible. From the latest count that I got, it was 1,300 people that were able to get vaccinated from our community, which was incredible. They just ended up bringing more vaccines the day of, and that was thanks to UCSD Healthcare, and of course the County of San Diego and our supervisor Nora Vargas, and Catholic Charities. Partnering with our faith-based organizations is very critical and important when we're trying to reach our hardest hit communities. And it really is a continuance on our promise to really meet our communities where they're at. So I was really excited to be there, really excited to see so many people just really excited to get in line and get their vaccine. You had people like on every side of that building just waiting and with their little juice boxes and everything. And it was a really great experience. Aside from that, I wanted to really briefly talk about a really cool thing that's happening in some of our local high schools. I'm a graduate of Hilltop High School, and something that they're doing is the Adopt a Senior campaign. I don't know if any other high school is doing it, but essentially what they're doing is that, of course, a lot of seniors are not getting, the homecoming, prom, grad night, and everything because of, COVID and this pandemic. And so people are able to adopt a senior, and you get to send them like treats or flowers or whatever, just kind of make their senior year a little bit more special. So I have adopted a senior from Hilltop High School. I don't know if other high schools are doing that. I believe Councilmember Galvez has also done so, and her family. So I encourage everyone to, if they're able to, just make a senior's day a little bit brighter as they, lead up to graduation. that would be really great and fun. And honestly, sometimes it's just kind of like it keeps me creative to think of like fun, cool things to do for Emma, who is my senior. And then I know that we moved the ADU item till May, I believe, but I did want to bring up to the attention of staff that I noticed that the form that is up on our website now is outdated. So I don't know if we want to just update that now or wait until we tackle this whole issue in May. But I did want to bring that up because I did notice that. And we made a few notes, my staff and myself, and I can send that over to you all if you want that. But I did want to just let you all know that. So thanks, everyone. Hope you all have a great rest of your night.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Garza.
So,
Ms. Galvez.
Quick question, Mayor.
Yes.
So, Andrea, how do you donate or how do you adopt a senior?
Oh, yeah.
Is it a website or?
So they Hilltop did a Facebook group. I'm Facebook friends with a few of my high school teachers, which I still get they're all my English teachers, so I get nervous every time I post stuff on Facebook that they're going to tell me anything. Anyway, so I noticed that they were posting that they're Connect Crew teachers, and so it's they posted that they were going to start doing this program, and then they invited us to be a part of the group. I don't know, again, if other high schools are doing this, but I think it's just Adopt a Senior for Hilltop High School, I think is the name of the page. But that's how they like put the picture of the student and they say available for adoption, and then you like adopt them. You just like put like adopted or whatever, and then they like link you up, or like if you have one of the teachers, tell them like you're interested, and then they like link you up. I don't know if Councilmember Galvez did it any differently, but that's how I did it. I was in a messenger group too, but yeah, that's essentially how I did it. But I would reach out to like if anybody has like any like teacher friends or anything like that in any of the other local high schools. I would just reach out. Maybe they haven't done it, but it's a great idea to start it in other high schools.
I think it's a great idea. Yeah. Having a granddaughter that was a senior last year, she missed out on so much, so many experiences, right? No grad night. Yeah. So that's
I mean, it's not something that they can get back, but if we can, make it just a little bit better, right? It's nice. It's also like, there's like that selfishness, right, too, of like, it also makes you feel a little bit better, so.
Thank you very much for letting us know. Thank you.
Of course.
Ms. Galvez?
Thank you so much, and thank you for bringing that up, and I'm glad you also adopted. It was a thrill. I met my adoptee last night, Gabriela, and she's incredible. She's going to UCSD, and she's a softball catcher, and I love this woman already. I'm so impressed. She's intending to be a doctor of psychiatry. So her story is incredible, and she's now a new part of our family. So that was exciting. I did ask because a number of my friends have been interested in how to adopt Maria, and so they're creating a waiting list. I think they pretty much adopted everyone that was willing to participate in the first round. But I will send you the link, and definitely, if you're interested, I'll connect you. But it is a Facebook group, and they pretty much screen us before matching us, and it's just been I lucked out. So my daughter and I hopefully will mentor Gabriella for life, because I don't plan on this just being a spring adoption. I told her you're ours forever. Okay, so. I had the great pleasure of touring the Urbana apartment, the new apartments, with our city manager, Maria Cachadorian, Chief Kennedy, and Captain Collum. And the views are incredible. These are amazing units. I think they're 70% booked. A little interesting side note was that Amazon has reserved a good number of their apartments for their corporate folks that come in, and it's just exciting to see, corporate activity happening in Chula Vista as they build out and do fun things in our community. And since then, after that meeting and eating, trying the catering of Shake and Muddle, my family and I have dined twice at Shake and Muddle since that meeting, and it was extraordinary. So I highly recommend fine dining experience, Shake and Muddle on 8th Street. This week, I attended the ALPR forum as a YouTube participant so that we didn't have a Brown Act violation, and would like to make the note that for in the comments at the end of the ALPR forum, if you choose your native language as Spanish, YouTube can automatically provide a translation for you for those public comments that were not translated into Spanish. I enjoyed the fire Station 5 ribbon cutting with the mayor and council members McCann and Cardenas and a lot of city staff, and really the technology in those new ambulances is pretty incredible. They have UV disinfecting, after every transport. They've got all the latest technology. The mayor was even able to load a gurney up with a push of the button, but they're really state of the art. And I read a San Diego Union Tribune article about their desire to have more modern ambulances, and I couldn't help but thinking that we have now throughout our city the most modern technology transporting us in our most vulnerable times, as well as the cleanest sterilized ambulances out there. So that was exciting. I did attend the gathering, the union meeting of the firefighter EMT paramedics. And Mayor, here's a side note that you missed. They said at one point we were in the union hall, and they said that one thing that all of the EMT paramedics have in common is that they were all born after 1985. Now, does that make you feel old? So how many here were born after 1985? And they all raised their hand. So you're right. A lot of them came from out of town, but a good portion came and were born and raised in Chula Vista, including a Hilltop High grad. So that was exciting to see. And they're excited, and we've seen them throughout town. But I believe that the rollout's been successful, and it is a special thrill seeing our folks taking Chula Vistans to the hospital and so forth. And then finally this morning, I attended the MTS kickoff of Eat, Shop, and Play in Barrio Logan. So I'd just like to take a moment to explain the program to you. It's free for our businesses to join, and so far we've got some Tava businesses that have joined and some on Broadway that have joined. And basically, by joining and listing your business for free with MTS, they'll provide you with a stack of cards and a stamp. And then every time someone comes to your location and spends $10 or more, you give them a stamp. And if those patrons collect 10 or more stamps by visiting regional small businesses, they can receive a free MTS monthly pass, and that's a $72 value. And so the program's called Eat, Shop, and Play. It's a great giveaway for our community, and a great way to reinvigorate our local economy, and help our small businesses, as well as put some money in the pocket for folks that use public transportation, because a $72 monthly pass is a pretty big deal to receive that for free. So that's all I have. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor and Council, and we'll see you in closed session.
Okay, thank you. Well, Mr. City Attorney will announce something about that. So getting back to adjourning in memories, tonight I'm not going to adjourn in memory of Dr. Emerald Rudolph, but I wanted to let the council know that next council meeting I will, and we can have words of appreciation for her then. She was a remarkable human being. But again, tonight adjourning in memory of two very, very special people. The first is Bishop George McKinney, and then of course Chief Emerson. George Dallas McKinney, lived in Chula Vista. He was born in Jonesboro, Arkansas, and he was a magna cum laude graduate of Arkansas State College, where he received a BA degree, and he received his MA degree from Oberlin College School of Theology in Ohio, and a PhD from the California Graduate School of Theology in Glendale, California. Bishop McKinney was a founding pastor of St. Stephen's Cathedral Church of God of Christ, which was established in September of 1962. From 1985, Bishop McKinney served as a jurisdictional prelate of Southern California, second ecclesiastical jurisdiction of the Church of God in Christ. In November 2000, he was elevated to the General Board, the president of the Church of God in Christ Incorporated. Bishop McKinney was internationally known for his dynamic preaching and his ministry. He received numerous honors in the field of religion and community service. On March 7, 2001, the National Association of Evangelicals presented Bishop McKinney with the Racial Reconciliation Man of the Year Award in July of 2021. And the Climate Action Campaign Award awarded him the Climate Justice Award, given to individuals that have done extraordinary work in leading the fight to ensure that those most impacted receive the benefits from climate solutions. Bishop McKinney is survived by his wife, the Honorable Barbara Jo Warden McKinney, and 6 sons, George, Grant, Gregory, Gordon, Glenn, and Louis, and 15 grandchildren. I had the privilege of knowing him very well. I got to know him very well on my trips to Sacramento when I was a state assembly member. Sometimes we were playing, we sat next to each other on our Southwest flight on his trips to Sacramento. But in addition to that, as an assembly member, I represented where the people where his church was, and I attended the services there in his church on many occasions. And he was a very, very eloquent and spiritual leader, and he was loved by his community and his flock. So he had a remarkable life, and we will miss him terribly. And then, of course, my colleagues here on the council, we knew Chief Emerson very, very well, and it was a shock when he died peacefully after a short battle with stomach cancer on April the 2nd. Chief Emerson started his law enforcement career in the Pasadena Police Department and served there for 23 years, becoming the commander, and then was selected as Chula Vista's 22nd police chief in 1992. At that time, I was a member of the Civil Service Commission, and I actually became very familiar with him by the very numerous cases that we were hearing on the Civil Service Commission related to police matters. I really grew to love him then. As our police chief, he implemented many firsts for our department and laid the foundation as being an innovator in law enforcement, from establishing the Citizens Advisory Support Team program and the Police Athletics League and the Reserve Senior Volunteer Patrol, and established the Research and Analysis Unit and helped to design and build the current police station. He also made many other innovations that have become the standard of law enforcement nationwide, like our community policing model. Chief Emerson left an indelible mark on our police department and made it the model that it is today. Chief Emerson was an avid runner, participating in many races, including the Baker to Vegas Law Enforcement Run. He retired as our chief after 17 years of service to our city in 2009. Chief Emerson is survived by his wife, Candy. And Candy, I know you will miss him very, very much. I watched their love grow when they met each other. Candy was the liaison to the Civil Service Commission, and so I watched the sparks fly. And so, and they had 2 children, sons Adam and Chris. He was, again, a remarkable man, someone that was taken from us too early, but he led a remarkable life, and I know that he's in peace now. So with that, we will adjourn to the next council meeting. Oh, with that, after
Madam
the
Mayor.
city manager's, or city attorney's report here. So I'll turn it over to the city attorney.
No public comments tonight, Madam Mayor, other than to echo everyone's sentiments and sadness about the passing of Rick Emerson. He had just been made chief when I started here as a young lawyer in 1993, and had a number of years working with him, and was always very, very impressed, and he was just an incredibly professional and gracious person to everyone around him. The good news is no closed session tonight, Madam Mayor. There's no need to go in on this item. We'll schedule it probably sometime in June after we have an opportunity to go to mediation. I will be providing council a written update on the status of the case in the next couple weeks, so be on the lookout. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. And with that, we will adjourn to the next City Council meeting of April 20th, 2021. And let's see. The council members are going to join me that night, aren't they? Yeah, so I'll welcome you all back. I'll be so happy to see you all. I really missed you and that personal touch when we're all together. So thank you and good night. And I'll see all of you in person on the 20th. Thank you and good night.